Brenda from paperboutique.blogspot.com. Today I'm doing a follow-up video demonstrating some tips and techniques to make the I-top easier to use and how to make the brad edges even smoother. In my first video, I demonstrated how to use the I-top with different types of paper, glitter, and ribbons to make homemade brads. If you haven't had a chance to see the first video, you may want to take a look at it. It's on my YouTube channel, or you can access it on my blog at www.paperboutique.blogspot.com. Here are a few examples of things we talked about in our first video. One was using the I-top and making brads and covering them with glitter. We also used an Italian paper to cover the I-top. Specialty paper, this one had mulberry in it. And I love this technique. It was a mesh ribbon, which worked well with the I-top. We also went over tissue paper and actually using paper ribbon on the I-top. What we're going to do today is make a brad and use a couple of different tips to make it even smoother. Here's an example of a brad that we made last time in light cardstock, and I covered it with diamond glaze, but I think you can see there's quite a bit of pleating, and if you look really closely you can see that it's not perfectly round. The other techniques using different paper that has a little stretch to it or mesh, you really don't have to worry, but when you use light cardstock, there's a couple of things that we'll do to make it a little easier today. Well, first of all, we're going to need a piece of paper towel, and then we're going to need our I-top tool. Today we're going to be making the 16mm brads, and when I bought my I-top tool, I also bought the punch, and I went ahead and punched out the brad topper. You'll also need a brad base. I think I'm going to move this just a little bit. You'll need a brad base, the topper, and then this is the brad shell. Now here's one of the first tips that I learned from Imaginess on how to make the brad smoother. I have a Ranger mini mister. It has just a real fine misting spray, and I filled it with water, and you'd obviously want to test this on different types of paper, but I've got the paper right side up, and I'm just going to mist it a couple of times, and you see it'll start to curl. And if you over mist it and tear the paper, the good thing is you can just start over. The other tip I learned from Brenda at the memory trail, when you put the brad in, you almost feel like you need an extra hand. So what I'm going to use to make it a little easier is I'm going to adhere this topper to the brad shell using a small adhesive glue dot. I'm using Zots, but any type of glue dot will work. Once again, you're going to want to test it on your paper. Sometimes the paper may be a little too thin, and I'm just going to put it in the center, which obviously I didn't do, so I'm going to move it over just a little bit and smooth it down. Then I'm going to put this in the center, and it is very important that you get it in the center, so when you fold your brad over, you've got a nice even finish. At this point, I'm going to use the smaller size of the I-top tool, and now instead of having to balance both, they're together, and you can just put it right over the top. Then this pulls out and put it, and then you just turn it, and then I kind of test it to see if it's pretty even, and then go ahead and squeeze pretty firmly. And while you're doing that, go around each of the sides of the rubber. That'll help smooth out your brad as well. Then what I do is I turn it, and I use a stylus, and I really get in there. I'm not sure that the camera's totally picking all of this up. I really get in there with the stylus and then my finger and put it down. The good thing about this, as I said earlier, if it doesn't work, you can just use pliers or something and pull the shell apart and just start over. So I think we've got that. Then what you're going to do is put the bottom piece, see, you know what I'm hoping in their next revision of the top or the tool that they make it magnetic. Wouldn't that be great? And then you're going to put the bottom of your brad, and then you're going to push firmly. And I'm going to, once again, I'm going to go around and do that really around the sides. Then instead of pulling it out like this, I just go ahead and loosen it. And then the other technique, right after you've done that, is to go ahead and spray on your paper towel some water and then run the brad along that. And the fun thing about this is if the paper's wet enough that you can just shape your brad, and you're not going to get, it's going to get, I'm going to even squirt it a little bit more, and you can just, it almost acts like fabric, and you get a much smoother brad than before. And I'm going to show you one that I did earlier that has dried, and you can see you get, you know, there might be just a little bit there, but boy, when you actually use that on fabric, it's going to have a really smooth finish. Well, Imaginests has come out now with badges and magnets and button daddies, and I haven't tried them yet. I just got them. I bought the small magnet daddies and the medium magnet daddies, which will be made very similar, and I can't wait to try them. Well, I'd like to thank you for watching, and please check out my blog at www.paperboutique.blogspot.com for more videos and project ideas. Bye-bye.